What's going on, everyone? You're welcome once again to David Data channel, where we talk about data science, productivity, and faith. And on today's video, we're going to be talking about ETL versus ELT. If this is your first time, please I'd like you to hit the like button and the subscribe button. Please, as it helps the YouTube algorithm to share this video to similar viewers like yourself. Awesome. So let's jump into today's video. So typically, data architecture can move from very simple to very complex, with several kinds of tools and resources being used for that data architecture or data pipeline. But at the end of the day, underneath it all, we would find two basic approaches used for moving data from one point to another. And typically, this would be the ETL or the ELT. In other words, a data pipeline is either one of these two. I'm going to be looking at these two, and I'll share my opinion on which I think is better. So first of all, we'll start with the ETL. As letters imply or stands for, ETL stands for extract, transform, load. Now, this typically means that data is ingested from the sources and is transformed while it is being extracted, and then it's loaded in the destination point for end users. So how does this work? Typically, the run job that extracts data is the same run job that transforms the data, such that the data that goes into the data warehouse is already transformed. So you don't find data in its raw, pure form. You find data has been cleaned, business logic has been applied, transformation steps has been taken already. In other words, data available in data warehouse is not raw data as it is. Now, this is very good for predictable, slow-moving data from business applications, right? Because you can predict what to expect. The business application is static. You just model the transformation once and for all, and that process goes like throughout time. But over time, we began to have the rise of the ELT, which really stands for the extract, load, transform. Now, before I talk about the ELT, there are some tools that are usually used for this ETL process. Tools like the Microsoft SSIS SQL Server Integration System, we have the Talend, and we also have the Informatics. Right, these are common tools that follow the ETL pipeline way of doing things, and they're usually enterprise methods. And we move to the ELT. As letters imply, they still stand for the same things, which is extract, transform, and load, but now the steps are rearranged. In other words, we extract the data, load the data, and then it is transformed after it has been loaded. Now, this is very interesting because unlike the ETL, your raw data is being loaded into your data warehouse. So what does this mean? Is that you can have historic data that is raw as it is from your sources. No matter how many sources you have, you can have this data loaded into your data warehouse, and then you now begin to apply transformation logic on this data. So typically, how does this work? So for example, I have my Airbyte ingesting data into a BigQuery data warehouse. So I have a schema that stores all my raw data as it is, and then I perform my transformation, business logic, cleaning, and all that, and then it creates another schema that carries my transformed data set. Now, this is what I use for my analytics or machine learning purposes, as the case may be. Now, this transformation, this ELT process is really interesting because it is scalable. You can start small, and you can also increase depending on how much data you are working with or how much data sources you're working with. The ETL usually works with just structured data, but then with your ELT pipeline, you can work with both structured and unstructured pipeline. So modern ELT transformations move ELT workload to the cloud, which makes scalability and elasticity very possible. In this ELT pipeline, there are several tools used in the transformation stage. My favorite being DBT. By DBT Labs, you have data prep by Google Data Prep. You have Delta Lake Tables by Databricks. Yes, sort of other transformation tools out there. So when do you use ELT? Use ELT when you have large data requirements. ELT is able to carry so much data because you are typically not constrained by transforming data even as it's coming. All you just have to do is to extract data and load them all in one point before you begin to think about business logic transformations for your data. So which of these pipelines is better? Personally, I'll go with ELT, which is extract, transform, load, largely because it is scalable and it can allow for near real-time analysis because you are not constrained by your transformation step of what changes would come up. You are just constrained with pulling data and storing it somewhere, performing your transformation logic or run on it, and then you get your transformed data used for any other purposes as the case may be. Alright, so ETL is still in use because largely lots of the enterprise systems are using ETL, and it's usually lots of work to move to migrate from this ETL pipeline to an ELT pipeline. So what this means is that lots of large organizations, enterprise organizations, will largely be working with the ETL pipeline framework, and they'll still be making use of the data in a very good way. However, for modern infrastructure, modern data tools, there are lots of other tools and opportunities that support the ELT pipeline, coming from transformation tools and data warehousing tools. So I'd like to hear your thoughts on ELT and ETL. For you, which do you think is better? Do share your thoughts in the link below, and thanks so much for watching. Bye.